Let me get this up on my computer so I can see comments. I can never see comments on my phone. Let me get this up on my let me turn this computer down so I can see comments. There's a little lag there. Happy Sunday. How are you? It's so good to see your face. All right. I want to get this in a place where I can read the comments and so I can see them. Okay. Hi, Missy. How are you this morning? All right. Now I'm going to make myself a little sacred space and kind of drop down and tune in so I can do a real reading this time. Last time it was not fun. I would open my mouth and go to speak and nothing would come out. All right, let's see. Where is... I gotta let the dog out. Give me just a minute. Before I pressed live, I had to get up and get him and let him in and put his blanket down here. See, he sits in my bed a lot, and he stinks because he's got like a skin thing going on, and so he stinks. And now look at him. You want to leave now? You just got here. All right. All right, buddy. He's 100 years old. And he's got a skin disorder. That's what took me so long to come in here and go live after I was on the live last time, because I had to go give him Benadryl. I had to get peanut butter out and give him Benadryl because he's itchy. We got to give him a bath, but like I'm really not looking forward to it. He runs from you. And so we have to like lock him on the back deck, and then I have to run around bent over with a bucket trying to get the soap off of him. It's ridiculous. Let's see. He's not even my dog, but I love him. I'm looking for Palo Santo, but that's okay. We could live without that. We'll just do sage. Some smoke in here. Make it smell good. Oh, I see it. I see the Palo Santo. I'm going to go get that. All right. I got my little cauldron going. I'm in love with this little thing. I love it. All right. The little cauldron's going. Let me get... Here it is. Here it is. Okay. I'm doing that breathing exercise that we did together. I think it really does a good job at creating like a slight shift in consciousness. It's good for doing readings and other intuitive works. So what are you up to this morning, Missy? What's going on in your side of the world, on your side of the country? All right. I think I'm going to do this a little bit different than I normally do. Let's do it differently. What do we want to know? he tries to come in this door again, I can hear him clicking, his nails clicking out there. I'm not getting back up to let him back in. He stands outside of my bedroom door and does a tap dance, like he tap dances out there. You can hear him down the street, his nails clicking. We're just going to go with it. So, oops. I'm feeling some Taurus energy, some creature comforts, some compassion, giving, some generosity, charity, sharing. Taurus energy. I'm a Taurus. And that's what it feels like right now. Taurus right now is in Jupiter, and Jupiter's in retrograde. And I'm not an astrologist, but I do read a lot about astrology, and I try to pay attention to what's going on, because I believe that the cosmos and the cycles of the earth and the moon and the planets are a reflection of what's going on inside of us on a collective level, right? And so right now, Jupiter, Taurus being in Jupiter in retrograde, is showing us all of the places where we are still stuck. So over the last 10 or 12 years, what ideas or beliefs or even political beliefs or social beliefs have you been stuck on when it comes to giving and receiving, when it comes to sharing, when it comes to being part of a community, when it comes to the collective? And so we're looking to see where we might be a little unforgiving or a little stubborn in our viewpoint. And I think that that's a helpful way to open the mind and try to see things from both sides, especially when we're living in a time where duality is highlighted and there is just this incredible polarizing effect of everything that we're seeing going on in the world. Okay, so it looks like there's a change coming. What are we leaving behind? What baggage are we trying to release? Let's find out. We're leaving something behind, and we're moving on to something new. And it's not really more, it's not, it looks like from this perspective that I'm seeing is not a running towards something, but a running away from something. Shielding yourself from whatever has happened in the past. And attempting to move on with your life. Looks like there's someone safe that's with you, that is willing to steer the boat. And so at least we've found a safe place to be, right, while we make our exit. And that's what it looks like is happening right now. And in this transition, what is it that we're leaving behind? What is it that no longer serves us that we want to leave behind? We want to leave behind the lack of control. We want to leave behind resistance to change. We want to leave behind cycles that need to be broken. We want to break them. We want to leave behind these negative phases that we go through, right? Where we have negativity going through our mind. That's what we're leaving behind. What did we just come from, though, that was so toxic or so kind of traumatizing? It's the impression that I'm getting, is that collective, we were leaving a phase that was negative, and we are not running necessarily to something, but we're moving away from something in a way where we feel we need to shield ourselves from it. And we do feel protected in a way, because we're being protected by someone who is guiding us, who is taking us away. So there is an energy that's taking us away. We'll find out what that is in a second, but let's find out what it is that we're running from. What are we running from collectively? Woo! That was way too many cards. Okay, that's the second time I saw that. Okay, so we're running from institutions. We're running from the patriarchy, basically. We're running from organized religion. We're running from society that has strict rules, that doesn't allow people to be themselves. We're running from conformity. We're running from trauma bonds. That sounds familiar, doesn't it? I would say that we had a president for 4 years in sometime within the last 8 to 10 years that people were trauma bonded to, 100%. And I would say that people are trauma bonded to the church too, as well. And, you know, here in the United States, it's obviously Christian churches that are, you know, leading the way as far as that goes. And the Christian nationalism that's popping up everywhere, right? And so we have politicians that are actually running for president in this country that have literal Nazis with Nazi flags in Nazi uniforms, standing on corners, coming to rallies. Like, we have some shit that's coming up that we have to, that we really need to move away from. And I see why. I'm sure you see it too. And I'm not saying that any one side of any spectrum is better. We live in a very corrupt society. But there is one aspect of it that I see being more dangerous than the others. I mean, and that's clearly the one with the literal Nazis, right? And so, who is it that's protecting us, right? Who is our ally? Who is our guide going forward, leaving this collective trauma that we're walking away from? Huh. So this is you. You are your own guide. This is your ability to, this is your urge to create. This is your willingness to let go of the ties that are binding, and step into your limitless self and your power to create. This is your willpower. This is your desire, our desire to see the potential in new beginnings. And so we're shielding ourselves. We're protecting ourselves and each other, because we know that if we make some changes and if we move away from this paradigm that's keeping us stuck and all these strict belief systems that are holding people back, we know that we have new, fresh opportunities for growth going forward. And so we are being our own guides. We are being our own light. We're lighting the way for ourselves and for each other collectively, away from this paradigm of strict fundamentalism and of controlling people and who they want to be and who they are and how they show up in the world. And this is about you. As you move away from the ties that have bound and the strict moral and societal control and the trauma bonding from things in our past, from priests and pastors, from presidents, from governments, from all the institutions, right? So this is the Hierophant that we're looking at. So when we're breaking free of the Hierophant, we're breaking free from the patriarchy, right? We're breaking free from those fundamentalist ideas that have held us back. And we are being our own guide. We are our own guide. We are the Ace of Wands, right? And we're starting, we know that it's time to start something new. And we're ready to start something new. We see the potential in new beginnings, and we want those opportunities for growth. We don't want to stay stuck anymore. And so what is it that we should lean on to help us through this? And we want to lean on our ability to create. And what does it take to create? The place of the greatest creation is in the void of creation, right? So this is where it feels dark and it feels dreary and it feels like there's literally nothing else in creation, but that's because this is where all of creation is created. This is the starting point. This is where all things come from. And so we want to meditate and contemplate, and we want to reevaluate where we've been and where we're going in the future. And we want to, in a way, kind of disconnect. We want to, in a way, kind of disconnect from any intentional creation, and we want to disconnect from paying attention to anything that will give us any strict direction or any strict rules. And we want to just kind of sit in the void of creation and allow whatever it is that comes up naturally, right? And allow whatever it is that moves through us to come through us and to come into being, right? And so, and we're doing this because we want to create a world of divine harmony, and we want to create blissful relationships, and we want to create fulfillment and happiness. And dreams can come true, and we know this. Somewhere deep inside of us, we've always known that we don't have to live and think in the way that they tell us to, and that things aren't exactly the way they've always told us it was, right? And so how many things and how many examples do you have of experiencing the world for yourself and seeing that it's not all like you've been told it is? It's not all like you've been told it is. And we're ready to break free from that. We need to break free from them telling us what our limitations are. We don't even have any limitations. It's all bullshit. And so, what we need to lean on is courage. What we need to lean on is knowing that we're going to be tested in our faith. This is where our faith needs to be. I got the chills. I got the goosebumps right now. Our faith needs to be in ourselves and our ability to create these changes in the world. They have to come from our faith in ourselves, not our faith in their systems, not our faith in their fundamentalism, but our faith in ourselves and the divinity that is inside. Because we know that we're better. We know we're more, and we know we deserve more and better. And we know that we're creators. And we know that we can create this if we work together to do it. And so we have to be courageous and brave, and we have to be resilient in the face of creating changes that the powerful don't want to see happen, right? And so this is going to come in organic movements. It's going to come in creating communities, grassroots communities. Let's see what else we get. This is going to come by us creating our own circumstances, by us coming together to create the kind of world that we want to live in. Ooh. And movement and progress and action is what's coming up. Pretty soon, it's going to be soon. We do feel in a way that it's time to act. We're preparing. We are preparing. So we're sitting we are still sort of in the void of creation, but we're just starting to act, right? We're just starting to dip our toe in the water of experimenting what that would be like. We're just starting to release some of our creative ideas into the world, right? And to tell people that, hey, this is what we're doing. Let's come together and do this together. And we're ready. We have the direction, we have the willpower, we have the determination. We just have to finish integrating the plan, integrating that power, forming that momentum. We're almost ready. And as we go through September and into October, we're going to be ready to bear the fruits of labor. And believe it or not, and this might be opposite for some people, and it's definitely opposite to the way it is in the Northern Hemisphere, but I personally feel that going into fall, even though we're going into the dying of the seasons, it almost has a birthing spring kind of feeling to me, because when it's cooler out and it's not so hot and it's not so, I feel like sometimes the heat and the humidity, especially where I live in the world, can be oppressive. And I know, Mandy, you get that because where you are, that it can be oppressive. And I feel like once it cools off and that humidity lifts, and even though it starts to, it gets crisp and cool outside, it brings us back to life. And I know it brings me back to life. We're not standing still. We're laying in wait. Yes, we're waiting. We're waiting for the right time. We know that it's coming soon. And that's why I feel like this fall has a spring essence to it, where we're going to step forward. Once the humidity breaks, once the summer truly ends, and this heat and this oppressiveness of the summer that's kept me for the last month, I know me, I don't know about you guys, has kept me indoors and kept me kind of in the void of creation, right? Planning and waiting for the next thing to happen. Waiting for the time to be right. To release all of our creative ideas and passions into the world, right? Time for us to come together and make something special happen, right? And we know it's going to be happening soon. And I feel like when the leaves start to turn and the air cools off and we feel like it's time to break out and be outside again and to go back out into the world, that's the time for us to release, to tell people about what we've been doing and to start to create a movement out of it. And so, let's see. I know we have the courage to do it. And we've been waiting. We've been waiting for the right time. And we know it's coming. We know it's coming soon. And we're going to create beautiful things together. And I'm so excited about it. Because, like, we are literally actually doing this. Oh, I know we all are. In one way or another. Hanging out in the void of creation. Knowing that the end is soon, right? And that the creation part of it is the gestation part of it is almost over, right? And it's almost like we're going to give birth to all of these ideas. And the ideas that we have right now and the plan that we have right now is one of community. And it's one of inclusion, and it's one of togetherness, and it's one of an organic grassroots movement towards the betterment and the health and the wealth and the abundance of humanity in general. For all of us. And that's the last thing the powers that be want to see happen. And I just feel very defiant about it. Like, fuck you, we're doing it. You know what I mean? Like, that's really how I feel. And what we have to watch out for is going forward is allowing ourselves to drop back into our old wounds, allowing little things to bring up triggers for us. Those abandonment wounds, those disappearing, those feeling like you're left behind, feeling like you're not included. It's not real. And that's not going to continue to happen. You're not going to be left behind anymore. No one is going to be left out. We are not in that time. We are no longer in that time. The time of that type of shit happening is over. We have all come to this collective agreement that we are all included and that everyone comes with us. There are more of us than there are of people who want to be picky about who and who isn't worthy. We're all worthy and we're all coming. And so we have to not allow those old feelings and those old wounds to pop up and stop us from participating in this amazing time and in this amazing movement. Let's see what else I can come up with. Dropping a million cards. Because it's not real. It's an illusion. No one's going to be left behind this time. There are more of us in love and in service than there are people who are in service to self at this time. And we're used to, we were traumatized by this old paradigm where there were rules and regulations, and if you didn't do certain things in certain ways, then you weren't worthy. And people that thought you weren't good enough for them or that thought they were better than you got to leave you behind and got to walk away. And you felt left out, and we felt left out. That's happened to all of us. We're not living in a world that's going to allow that anymore because we're come together as a collective to not allow that to happen. And that's why we're coming together as a collective, to make sure that no one gets left behind. And the thing that we're remembering now, the thing that we want to remember as we go forward is that this is sacred and that our intuition is our guide, not our traumas and our wounds. And that if we become more aware of the subconscious and we lean more into our divine feminine and we lean more into our creative flow instead of this gotta do, gotta have, gotta be, there's rules. And if we allow ourselves to just drop into that feminine flow and to just allow things to take on a life of their own, right? So this movement that we're doing, and probably doing in many different levels, right? And so it's the things that we're doing together as a team. It's the communities that we're in. It's the friendships that we have. It's the ideas that are forming in the collective, for us to be a real community, and for us to move together to take care of each other so that no one's left behind. This is very dependent on the feminine, divine feminine energy. We need her sacred knowledge, her deep wisdom. We need to be quiet and make sure that we are listening to her guidance, and that we are in flow with the creations that we're creating, because they are entities in and of themselves, all these creations that we're creating, the little ones and the big ones. And so they have a life of their own, and in their own way, they are an entity, and they need to be kind of let be, like we need to follow them. So we won't always be the ones in charge or be the ones guiding. We have to let go of control as far as that's concerned, and let the things that we create take on a life of their own, and let them be the guide for us. Let them show us the way. And I feel like that's the way it needs to be with our circle that we're doing. And I feel like that needs to be the way with the program that I'm running. And it's all starting in October, and I'm just so freaking excited about all of it that I'm just like over the moon. And I really feel right now, more than I have ever before, the call of the divine feminine within myself. And that desire to just sit in beingness. We have this strict programming where we feel like, okay, we've gotten used to allowing ourselves to be in the void of creation over the past few years. That's not something we used to do before, but recently, in recent years, we've gotten kind of used to that because we've been studying the divine feminine. And we feel her. But now it's time to not feel like we have to spring to action, where we can just do what like things don't have to be hard. I don't know about you guys, but I personally have had this belief that nothing good is going to come unless hard work is done. And I feel like it's really time to fucking do away with that. Like, we need to light that shit on fire and send it off like a Viking funeral. Things don't have to be hard. The divine feminine is telling us right now, and I got the chills, because she's telling us right now that if we just allow her, if we just embrace this energy, and we really embrace our own feminine flow, that things won't be hard anymore, and we can do amazing, great things without feeling like we have to come up with this 12-step action plan, and that things need to be done in a certain order, or that we need to work hard to do it, or that it needs to be so much harder than it actually does. Things can be easy. We can be in joy. We can have fun and still get things done. It doesn't have to be hard. In fact, it shouldn't be hard. It never should have been hard for us in the first place. And that's a trauma response that we need to break ourselves out of. And holy cow, I'm on fire today. I couldn't do this in the beginning of the month because my hormones were a freaking mess. But yeah, that's what I'm really feeling. This high priestess, the high priestess. That's the last card that I pulled. And that's the energy that I'm feeling really strongly. And I'll repeat it one more time. Her message is that it doesn't have to be hard. Her message is that we need to let go of that old paradigm of thinking that we have to work really hard to be successful and to be happy and to make things happen. We don't. We have to allow, and we have to create, and we have to stay in flow. And we can just be in our beingness, and beautiful things will be birthed through us. That's how the divine feminine works. But we live in this society where we've been traumatized into trying to be masculine. And the masculine's not even masculine. The poor masculine is a mess, and they need help as well. I'm trying to push Michael to do that. Like, we need men, creating men's circles. They need that healing as well. It's not just us that needs it. There's a balance here. We need each other. We live in a reality of duality, and we are dual sex, gender, for a reason. And this has nothing to do with anybody's choice of what gender that they want to identify as or be or whatever. It has to do with that divine energy, that healthy divine feminine and that healthy divine masculine. We all have both, but we're all dominant, more dominant in one than the other. It doesn't matter which one you're more dominant in or not. We need to be an example for others in that energy that we choose, in that energy that chose us, and allow it to flow through us. Because it's not a choice really that we're making. It's how we are. It's who we are. It's what flows through us. And we don't choose that. We just have to learn how to let go and go with it. And learn how to let go and go with it. And live and let live, right? It's time to allow others and ourselves more than anything else to just be. To just be. You don't have to anything. You can just be. I loved that message today, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. What are you guys up to? Let me take a look at this one because on the computer I might be able to see more comments. I see a couple comments. But let me just make sure I'm not missing anything. I guess I have to. Sometimes the computer is so much more slow than the phone that I have to refresh it to make sure I didn't miss anything. What are you guys up to today? Anything fun going on? It's still raining here. The thunder stopped, but it's still raining here. And I think I'm actually going to do a meditation. Thank you. I'm glad you love it. I love it too. I know you're feeling the same thing. I know you are. I'm super excited about the next couple months. I feel like this naturally every year, but this year I'm so much more excited about it because I finally feel like we've allowed ourselves to sit in the void of creation. And although it's opposite from what you might think, we spent the summer in the void of creation, trying to figure out what the next step was to go forward. But for once, we didn't shoulda, coulda, woulda ourselves. We didn't bash ourselves up because we weren't doing what we thought we should be doing. We allowed ourselves to just be so that we could birth this new experience coming up in the fall. And as the leaves start to fall, that's going to be the time that everything starts to come to life for us. And I've always felt that deep inside. And that right there is the perfect example of how, yeah, we look to the outside and the cycles of the earth and the moon and the cosmos for guidance to look within, but we pay more attention to what's going on within because we know what's right and what's wrong. And so although in the fall is when the leaves fall off and everything starts to die, that's the time I've always felt that it's time for me to come to life. And so that's when I am in the most receptive state. That is when I'm ready to bring my creations to the world and allowing it to be that way and not fighting it. Exactly. Hey, Rachel, so good to see you. I've seen that you have been frolicking out in nature and writing and reading so many beautiful things in the divine feminine. Yeah. And the masculine as well. And yes, we do need men's. Yeah, we need men's circles. We do. They need the healing too. We all need the healing. We've been bashing each other for friggin' decades now. I mean, there aren't as many examples of healthy relationships with the self and with others, romantically or not, and we need to collectively start these movements to move towards that healthier place for all of us. Thank you, ladies, so much for joining me on this quiet and rainy Sunday morning. Well, it's almost afternoon now. I'm going to go cook some yummy plant-based things, and I'll post the pictures in the other group with some recipes for you guys. I love posting the recipes and the plant-based cooking. It's so much fun. Yay! That's wonderful, Missy. Thank you, too. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. You guys go make some magic and have a fantastic day. And I will see you, if not before, Thursday at 4. we're going to do our the Wake the Witch live again. If you guys have any suggestions on what you think I should do this week's on, let me know. I'm wide open to suggestions. I haven't sat down and done this time around, I've done things like this before, and I've like made a list in the beginning and like went with the list. This time around, I wait till like Monday or Tuesday, and then I sit in meditation, and I sit and I let it come to me, and that's how I've been doing it this time. And so we're just in this state of allowing, and we're going to allow it to come. But if anything comes to you, make sure you communicate it to me. All right? Love you, ladies. Have a wonderful day.